You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is August 31st, 2021, and this is episode 70 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I am, of course, CQ, like the box says. See, that's me. And with me, as always, is our very own, sorry about it. He's the man in the bubble, the voice of the unpop cultured. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big warm welcome to Mr. Radar!
What up, guys?
What's up, buddy? What's up?
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, buddy. I'm doing good.
Feeling good? It's Tuesday
I'm trying to
night.
get my shit to work. Why not?
It's Tuesday night.
Hey, hi, everybody. Now I can say hi to you in the chats because it wouldn't let me do it a minute ago.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Quick hello to Jim. Hey, happy people. Matt, Raynor, Jim, Heath, Ismail. Hey, man, what's up? Ismail, how you doing, man? Raymond, Bry. I see ya. Scott, Nick, what's up, man? Nick says bet on how many times the audio messes up tonight. All right. Fair enough. What else? Matthew, you making cheeseburgers? Yes, absolutely. I want one. Send that thing over. We got John.
It'll probably be cold by the time I get there.
Joseph Powell, what's up, buddy? Ashley, hello again. Oh, this is Heath. Ashley, Heath. I don't know which one everyone. Jim. Hey, Jim. How you doing, Jim? Michael Martinez Escato. I like your name, dude. That's badass, man. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. Jim Michael Martinez Escato. Escoto. I'm gonna go with Escoto. I think that sounds better. It's like risotto. Escoto.
I don't know, dude.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Matthew, you're a first time watcher. Get the fuck out of here. But no, I'm just kidding. This is awesome. Awesome. I hope you enjoy the show. Tell me what you think, man. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, tell us what you think, and tell your buddies how awesome we are.
This is the show where we talk all about pop culture. We talk Marvel and DC and movies and TV and video games and all the things you love. All the toys and collectibles and nonsense and yeah. This is where we do that. And then in the second hour, we've got a guest. We've got a guest tonight. Very excited for our guest tonight. She is an incredibly funny comedian, actress, podcaster, singer, model, host. I mean, she's done it all. And she's a huge nerd, which I love. She was on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show. She did a show called Comics and Cocktails. I mean, her credentials are incredible. It's the wonderful Anastasia Washington. Yes, I agree. We'll reboot it. We'll get her information.
We should have like combat vets and cocktails. We'll just get drunk in my basement and
vets and vodka.
Yeah.
That can't possibly end up any worse.
That can't go well at all. That cannot be good.
Oh man, great to have you guys joining us tonight. We got a lot of really fun stuff to talk about, a lot of fun stuff to cover. I mean, real quick, right off the top, dude. I mean, we got the last episode, Marvel's What If, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it? I'm assuming you saw it.
I did.
Spoilers, if anyone has not seen the week old episode. By the way, I don't have COVID. My throat's been killing me all day.
I'm pretty sure you can't get COVID through your headphones.
I hope not, because otherwise everyone's gonna have COVID. But yeah, so episode 3 of Marvel's What If came out. The idea of what if the Avengers never became the Avengers? What if they all died mysteriously? And again, spoilers. You've got 3, 2, 1. The fact that it was Ant-Man the whole time, or really it wasn't Ant-Man, he was Yellow Jacket, the alter ego of Ant-Man, that ended up killing everybody except Nick Fury and the Captain Marvels and the Captain Americas and the captains. What'd you think of the episode, man?
It was interesting. I didn't like it as much as the second one. I did hate it. I just thought it was like, I like how, the first one I didn't really care for because it was too close to Captain America, First Avenger, right? The second one I really enjoyed. The third one felt really busy, but not, and very, I didn't like how the plot was tied together, but it wasn't really tied together, and it was kind of weird. It's an interesting concept. I think that one would have been better if you would have had like 2-hour show out of that one. Does that make sense? To kind of, it was very choppy and very jumped around and very, do you call it a screenplay when it's animated? But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I get you. I get you.
It didn't really flow well. And I know it's hard to do in a 1-hour show.
Right. And especially a 1-hour show that's covering the events of like 4 movies.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean?
I think, and I don't know, it felt very rushed and the concept was there. The concept was good. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just too much. Right. So, but it wasn't bad. I like the premise of it. Yeah, especially when Hawk's like, I can't die. And then so.
Yeah, right. Okay, so my thoughts. I'm trying to open this. There we go. That's weird. My thoughts. Oh, hey, what's up, Joshua? Be good in the audience. Hey, man, how you doing, bud? I see you there. The thoughts of the show were good. It was more. we're talking about a spectrum of like events that stick very close to the movies and then events that veer wildly off the movies. You know, episode 1, you know, Peggy Carter's episode, that was the first. That steered like almost right on track of what the movie was. And then second episode where it veered wildly off course. This one is definitely closer to that left side, the side that says, you know, all these events are still happening, even though they're all dying, right? Obviously, the ripples going way forward would be drastically different, but the events of that week were still pretty much the same. Hulk was involved, Iron Man was involved, Thor was involved. So obviously, we would see a ripple effect going forward, but the fact is, it kept very much to what we saw in the movies, with a slight variation, with like Loki and with Ant-Man and things like that. Captain Marvel coming back way sooner than she should have. So I'm thinking they're going to kind of do that, kind of tiptoe back and forth between, you know, moments we remember just slightly different and then wildly, drastically different moments.
Yes.
I have it on good authority that tonight's episode, Midnight Tonight, will be what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands. Now, that's metaphorical heart. The idea being, in the moments that Doctor Strange's life changed was in the car accident, right? That's where he damaged his hands. He was in the car alone. But what if, because he had invited his love interest to go with him and she declined in the movie. What if she didn't decline? What if she was in the car with him? What if she died? How would that affect him? So that it's less about him physically and more about him emotionally. And he still ends up becoming Sorcerer Supreme, but albeit for very different reasons and kind of wanting to tap into that dark power to bring her back. So it's going to be very interesting. So again, it's tiptoeing with the ideas that we know, but I feel like this one's going to veer wildly off course from what we know, because he's not going to become the Doctor Strange that, you know, just wants to heal my hands. It's Doctor Strange that's obsessed with getting enough power, and we're talking dark power, to bring back the dead. So yeah, so I'm interested. I can't wait to see that episode. Very excited about that. I'm curious if you guys in the chats have any thoughts on the What If show. I'd love to hear them, as always. Let's see what else. Looking through what you guys are saying. Stay strong. Matthew says, any thoughts or hopes on when the Insomniac Spider-Man sequel will come out, and what you'd expect it to be? They still haven't announced when it's coming, but it's supposed to be soon. It's supposed to be I think 2022. Because we had the mains game, then we had the Miles Morales game, and they're definitely working on a sequel. What it'll be about, I have a feeling it's going to involve Venom and symbiotes. I think you'll see more villains and more heroes arising around Spider-Man. So yeah, that answers that. There's really not a lot of information outside of that. Trust me, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'm keeping a close eye on that one.
So Scott asked what's this Marvel What If? It's not really the question is, so is Marvel What If just main characters switching spots, or do they actually do like what if Captain America was rescued and never frozen? Basically, yeah. If you were up on Loki, where things split, right? The multiverse is splitting and there's all kinds of shit. The premise of the show, basically, from what I understand, is if all these decisions that are made to make the sacred timeline, what if somebody changed their mind or changed direction or changed things, and that causes differences in the timeline?
Right. It's the ripple effect, right? It's the ripple. You drop a pebble and then it ripples out. So the What If show takes the premise of, okay, we've established canon. Somewhere in that timeline, a single change happens. A single what if happens. And when that happens, it the episode plays out to, you know, its conclusion. What would happen if that change occurred? In the first episode, what if Peggy Carter hadn't gone up into the observation booth, right? She was down on the floor, and that led to her becoming Captain Carter and Steve Rogers becoming the first Iron Man, really. Second episode, what if instead of Peter Quill being abducted, T'Challa from Wakanda was abducted, and that spun off into its own series, or, you know, kind of universal implications. So then the third episode was what if, you know, basically in this series, what happens, and there's a small clue, which is actually, man, they are so good at hiding these Easter eggs. If you remember back into Captain America Winter Soldier, when Natasha was talking to Captain Rogers, to Captain America, she said how the Winter Soldier had shot her, right? She showed her scar, and she goes, "Oh, he shot through me, and that's how she killed the target. That's the first time I saw him." Well, she talks about that happening outside of Odessa, Texas. And in this series, we find out that Hope Van Dyne, Ant-Man's daughter, decided to join S.H.I.E.L.D. and decided to become an agent, and died outside Odessa, Texas on assignment. So it's a very subtle nod to, it was the Winter Soldier that killed her. You know, where Natasha survived that encounter, Hope didn't. And then that spawned the whole, you know, Ant-Man going on a murderous rampage bit. So I think it's really cool how they tied all that together, you know, and it was such a sly, you know, subtle reference that, man, you know, you miss it if you're not like super nerdy like me. If you're not a super nerd. By the way, can I just say real quick, look at you, Radar, rocking the merch. Look at,
I am.
Are you rocking the black shirt merch? Which, guys, if you want to be rocking a Pop Culture Warrior, the traditional, as what Mr. Radar's wearing, or the alt version, which I'm wearing, or the hoodie, or the, I don't know, the mouse pad, or whatever, you know, we do have a merch store. Just gonna, you know, I don't sell things on here, but, you know, there is a merch store if you wanted to just check it out. Just saying. Anyway, moving on. What else? Okay. Ooh. This one is exciting, man, because we've had so much Marvel stuff coming out lately, right? We've had what, like, the Black Widow came out, and obviously all the trailers dropping out. We had Loki series, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, the WandaVision series. We have so much, and all we've had from DC in a long time is the Suicide Squad, which was a great movie. I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Would watch it twice, would watch it again. But we haven't really gotten any updates outside of that, of what's going on. So Justice is going to watch it now. Wish me luck. Good for you, man. Good for you. Watch it.
It's worth it. It's 100% worth it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of things, let's move over to movie news. Everybody say hi to Marty. Hey, Marty. Hey, Marty. It's Marty. Let's see. Kaz wants you to give a little spin, you know, show off the goods. You know, I don't know how comfortable you feel about that, Radar. Hey, his eyes are up here, man. His eye, there it is.
Oh no! Broke my headphones. Damn it!
Oh, there you go. See what you did, Kaz. See what you did, Kaz. See what Kaz did. All right.
I did. I broke it.
Matt says, I don't know about you, I like Titans on HBO. Yeah, man, Titans is good. I have like a love, I don't want to say love hate. I have a love annoyance with Titans. I think there's some really good material in there. I think they made some very bold choices, and I like a lot of the stuff they do. Little things just kind of you know, right now they're doing the whole Red Hood storyline, which is great, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch the whole season before I make final judgment. I don't like how they kind of got the ball rolling on it. The introduction of the character was great, but then kind of burning through the backstory of it a bit. It just rushed. It feels very rushed to me. So sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, DC Fandome. And speaking of Titans, because they're part of the DC universe, for those that are DC fans, and that's the cartoons, the comics, the video games, the movies, the TV shows, whatever, the CW shows, the HBO shows, whatever, DC's Fandome event is going to be coming very soon. It is October 16th, so a little over a month away, month and a half away. I've got this really cool, let's see if I can pull this up. This is the poster for the DC Fandom event. Be part of the ultimate DC fan experience. This is pretty cool. They did it last year. It was a little tough to kind of watch because you had to like go through its own website and kind of like register and a bunch of things. So they're doing things a little differently. They've listened to the fans. This year, it's going to feature exclusive content and breaking news tied to a wide array of DC comics, movies, television shows, video games, comics, and more. The event will be available to stream on the DCFandome.com, as it was last year, as well as for the first time, we'll be streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, providing you, the fans, viewing opportunities to experience the fun. That's going to be October 16th, beginning at 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Central, which is what, 2 p.m. Eastern? I don't know math. Hours and math.
I'm 2 hours, so it's 3 hours.
3 hours? So 2 p.m.
7 a.m.
Well, no, it's
right?
10 Pacific, 12 Central, which is then 2 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Because you're 3. Okay. What time is it right now?
It is 8:19 for me, sir.
Okay, so it's 6:19 for me.
Okay, let's
and
do
I'm
that.
in Mountain Time.
Yeah.
So if it's 10 Pacific, 12 Central, it's 11 or 1 your time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Somewhere after lunch is the answer.
God, why are we bad at this? We're bad at math.
I'm
Math
bad
is
at time
hard.
zones. I rarely knew what time zone I was in.
I just look at my phone. My phone tells me what fucking time it is.
So some of the big things I'm expecting, obviously, them to share about are like the new Aquaman movie, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to the 2018 movie. It's been started shooting earlier this summer, so they should have some stuff to show, probably behind the scenes looks, things. The big one I'm excited about, the Batman. They showed the first trailer at the last Fandome event in 2020, and they have confirmed they'll be bringing a brand new second trailer to this year's show. So expect me to be very excited for the Batman trailer. The first one got me hyped. I'm not gonna lie. The first one got me hyped. I'm excited to see what they bring with the second one. Other things they're gonna cover: Black Adam, the Flash movie, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Peacemaker getting his own show. They're doing an animated movie based on the Injustice video game. There's all the CW shows, right? That's the Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Batgirl, or Batwoman, all those shows. Then there's all these HBO shows. There's Titans, there's Doom Patrol. Then they're doing new anime movies. And then the video game, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to cover. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun, cool event. And I'm excited because as much as I am a Marvel fanboy, DC can do good. It could do good. It's hit or miss, but
well, that's just it. Then that's where they need to.
We've talked about this.
We have. Why can't they just unfuck themselves?
Do good things. Just
quit fucking up.
We're gonna put positivity. We're gonna push that out into the universe. That good things are coming. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna say good things are coming.
I mean, well, my wife's not here. Anyway, no, okay, but here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when a Marvel movie comes out, right? When Black Widow came out, for example,
yeah,
we know that it's going to be better than decent.
A certain level of quality.
Yes, we expect a certain level of quality from MCU properties. Even to certain extent, the Disney Plus shows now.
Mm-hmm.
They've had 3 quality shows come out, right?
Yep.
So we have a certain level of expectation with them. I think we're kind of up in the air at first with WandaVision. Like, it was good, but were the other ones going to continue? But now they keep that same cinematic feel to it. They're good shows. They're good stories.
Yeah.
All the things, right? DC doesn't do that.
Well, I think they try. They try to. I just think sometimes they kind of miss the mark.
But that isn't why. Why are they missing the mark, do you think? Why do you like, you as the pop culture warrior, as the subject matter expert?
Call me out.
But I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think that? Okay, this last Justice League, the one with the fucking talking shark just came out.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad was pretty good, right? You said it was good. Okay.
It was.
What was it? Was it MCU good?
I think it was. It reminded me very much of like an R-rated Guardians of the Galaxy, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it was made by the same director and written by the same guy. But that was the feel it had.
But what was it as good as Guardians or Guardians 2?
I think.
Or when Guardians 3 comes out, what, like in a year, do you think Guardians 3 is going to be better than it?
It's hard to compare the movies, and here's why.
Okay.
Because Suicide Squad stands alone in that they're not heroes. These are not heroes. These are, at best, anti-heroes or vigilantes, at best. Mostly just supervillains forced to do good. So you don't have, like, it's hard to say, like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy versus Suicide Squad. While the feel, a ragtag bunch of degenerates thrown together to save the world, like that, it has that feel. Something like Guardians has a lot of heart. It has a lot of good feeling. Whereas Suicide Squad, it's all about just being bad. Like, that's the fun of it. Like, they can kill without remorse. Like, at no point do they feel any remorse about any killing. Superman rips one dude's or snaps one dude's necks, and he's all like, so it's they're different. You have to compare like an Avengers to a Justice League, right? Because they are superhero teams trying to save the world. And when you compare those two, it's wildly one-sided.
This is where you being a nerd, and I say that with all love,
of course,
right? But and me being the unpop cultured, okay,
the voice of
the unpop culture, right? I'm not into whether or not they're villains, whether or not they're heroes, whether or not they're anti-heroes or whatever, any of those things, right? Remember when you're like, "Whoa, do good, make it good, make it enjoyable." Okay, so from the special effects point of view, and from this plot and the screenplay and all of the things, like on par with when I go see a Marvel movie. And now we're doing this gig for 2 years now,
almost.
And doing this stuff, like, now I've kind of gotten more into the canon and all of the things and like tying the movies together. Which,
by the way, melts my heart.
It does. So I'm growing up, but I will say this though. I think not too long after we got together and started doing this, I went back and I watched all of the Marvel movies at that time in chronological order. Yep. Not in the order they came out, but in the order that they were.
The timeline order.
The timeline order.
The sacred timeline order.
Well, yeah, now come to find out.
What used to be the sacred timeline order.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, now I've kind of, done this, right? And then Endgame really kind of brought everything together for me. Like, you got to see how all of the things work together, right?
Yeah.
And I know that DC is a long ways off from that. Okay. But when I remember when I first watched the first Iron Man and I saw it, I'm like, this is a pretty good, all right show. This is decent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not knowing shit about the comics, not knowing shit about any of the canon or all the other stuff. It was a good show. It was a good movie. Had good special effects, had a good cast, had a good story. It was a good movie. Right. So when I go to the theater which I don't do often, but if I'm going to be coerced into going to the theater, that's what I look for. It doesn't have to be the story. It doesn't have to be the, oh, they're heroes or they're bad guys, or you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it doesn't even have to be like, it could be Texas Chainsaw Massacre or
You
Fury.
want to enjoy yourself.
I
want
want to
enjoy
enjoy
your time.
myself and enjoy the movie and have it be okay. Like I said, Fury. One of the last movies I actually saw in the theater was the movie Fury.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it, and it had nothing to do with anything else other than it was a good story. It was put together well, and I liked that film.
Yeah. I look at a movie like Fury and feel like that is the Marvel formula of movies, right? You have good set piece, right? You have a group of individuals coming together to form something better than themselves. You have humor. You have heart. You feel when something happens to these people, you feel it.
Mhm.
And there's great action and special effects. Like that's the tentpole of a Marvel movie. If of any movie, that is the closest thing I think you can get to a Marvel movie but not superheroes. These are great men doing great things for a good cause. But yeah, that's a
But I mean,
great example.
but I'm just saying, okay, so you take how you looked at Fury,
Mhm.
okay? That's how I look at basically any movie I want to watch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, last night the wife and I were sitting there. We watched Tombstone last night. Oh, better part of it anyway, because it's a good fucking movie, and it has good acting, and it has a good story, and it has, well, for the time, good special effects, and it was, it's a good show. Like, and it's definitely stood the test of time with all the things. The cast was just phenomenal, and
Right.
the screenplay they had, the script was amazing. All of the things made that a good movie. You're not going to hit a home run like that every time. I get that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I mean, like I said, when we were talking about Black Widow before it came out, and I asked, is it going to be as good as Black Panther?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, Captain Marvel, I guess, came out after Black Panther, right?
Mhm.
In theaters, like, and it's still a very good movie. The cinematics are good. All of it. It's a good movie. Standalone, even.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So when we do these things, like, can DC consistently put out movies that stand alone? Because I don't think they're to the cinematic universe status with their shit yet.
Right.
They
Well,
really have to. And this is, I'm surprised they haven't yet.
Mm.
Kind of taken these characters, right? Because Aquaman was a good movie, right?
yeah, I mean it was good. That's what I was gonna say. If you look at the properties they're gonna be talking about at this DC fandom, it's of the group that I think had the best material to continue on. So like they're doing the sequel to Aquaman. That was a pretty good movie. Not great, it was pretty good. Doing a Flash movie. Everybody kind of loved the Flash character in Justice League. We only got a small taste of him, but they seem to enjoy the character, so that seems like a good one. Peacemaker, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I thought the Shazam movie was very good. A very heartfelt, warm, kind of family fun movie for DC, which is very rare. So to do that, and then obviously the Black Adam spin-off with the Rock, and then the Batman story that everybody's wanted to see, which is kind of like a Batman Year One / The Long Night storyline, which is kind of what the vibe they're going for with this Batman movie. So I feel as though they the movie wise, they could kind of correct the ship. They can kind of
they can write it.
Take it to the next level.
If they take, say, Batman, right, and do an origin story of Batman. Okay, kind of like they did with Iron Man, or basically they've done with all of the fucking characters in the MCU.
Sure.
Had some way or another, right? Some really haven't had the same, fucking Bucky hasn't had quite the same character arc as some of them, but essentially all of the main characters we had now with the Black Widow film we've had. This is why Tony Stark is Iron Man. Right. Also, for me, this is a me thing. This is a radar thing. They kind of need to keep the same fucking the same actor as the same character. I think that's what's really helped the MCU, right?
Sure.
You know,
I mean,
Robert Downey Jr. has
they've
always been Iron Man.
made
Kind
small
of. If they just would
changes.
fucking stick with, okay, this guy's Batman. I don't give a shit who the fuck it is at this point. This guy's our fucking Batman. You know what I mean? All right, tight.
I
I
mean,
mean, obviously we can't have Val Kilmer come back in. That's not going to happen. But you know what I mean? Like, just fucking have one Batman and then have him from the origin and keep this into this cinematic universe. Like, they want to do this. If they want the same success that Marvel has,
yeah.
Here's
here's the problem with that. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and here's the problem with that. When they did it for Iron Man, it made sense. Nobody had ever played Iron Man, right? Yeah. And they nailed it, and they ran with it. Awesome. Yeah. Same thing for Captain America. Same thing for Thor. Same thing for a lot of these characters. You know, they didn't reboot a character until Spider-Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now they recasted, like Hulk got recasted, and a couple other side little characters. You know, War Machine got recasted, but taking a main superstar character that had been played by a different actor hadn't been done until Spider-Man, which is well into the DC universe or to the MCU.
Right.
So, you know, you can't do that with Batman because he's been played a dozen times. Right. So it's hard.
Right. What I'm saying is like, you can't. I realize you can't start over from the fucking beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're gonna go through the trouble of doing an origin story and saying this is our Batman for the next decade, right? For the next half a dozen movies or whatever the fuck they want to do, right? But you can't have him as Batman for fucking 2 movies, and then they're like, nah, I'm gonna do Batman. Now we got this. It makes it hard to follow. You can't build a character arc when you do that.
Yeah. Well, you can't build a universe, and that's what we're spoiled now. In the old days, you got 2 Michael Keaton Batmans, moved on, got a Val Kilmer, moved on, got a George Clooney, moved on, got a Christian Bale. Like, that's just the way it was done back in the day. Different movie studios, different directors, different casts.
And I think that's where they shot themselves in the foot.
Sure. And that's why Marvel's doing it differently.
That's why, and that's why Marvel's being, and that's why now when you bring up DC stuff, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. It might be good. It might fucking be dog shit. You know what I mean? Because they can look across the aisle and look at what Marvel's doing and their level of success, right? And then that they're doing well. And maybe they can't do that with Batman in particular, but they could do it with Aquaman.
Yeah.
Right. But they can do it with a lot of these characters who, I don't know.
I don't know. We've beat this horse dead. I do want to answer.
No, it's still fucking living because they keep fucking it up. If we've beaten fucking dead and we're just a couple yahoos with fucking Skype, why the fuck can't these people who get paid dozens of millions of dollars?
Don't make me laugh, man. I'm gonna die over here. I do want to answer. I want to say it's
shit together.
Elena,
email your buddies over at DC and be like, "Look, you guys are fucked. Listen to Radar."
I'm gonna mute Radar here in about 3 seconds if it doesn't let me answer the question that's in the chat. You're all fired up tonight, man. I like it. You're all fired up. I think it's Elena, Elena, Elena. Anyway, she says, I'd like to see an X-Men show the way they did HBO's Titans, a darker adult kind of version for that. And I like the idea. And I really believe in my heart of hearts, X-Men would be in the MCU would be better suited as a Disney Plus show. I think as a movie, the X-Men are a group. There's too many characters to throw into one movie. You do a show, and very much like the Titans season 1, where it's like every episode was like based on like one person. Like one person got the spotlight every episode before they kind of came together as the Titans. You could do that, a Disney Plus show where it introduces all of these X-Men separately, and then like to wrap the show, be like they all get to the X-Mansion and they're like, it's like, welcome to the program. And then boom, you can do a movie from there because they're all established. So I do agree. I think that's a great point. And when you know
what I don't want to see them do,
okay,
is like what they're doing with the Eternals. I like the idea of the movie. I like the whole thing, But you can't just be like, oh yeah, we have these X-Men, and they didn't help out when Thanos was here.
Well, right. That's
You know what I mean? I feel like
think
that's kind of. But I think this is where this multiverse thing can be really, really cool.
right. Because they have options. You can bring them from another universe, another timeline where they've existed the whole time, and they did participate in those events, and now fold them into our reality. The other one is you can say very much like the Eternals, right? They talked about how the snap triggered the oh my god, what's it called? Jesus, the monsters.
No, he had nothing to do with it.
Oh my god,
Hey, maybe he did.
no,
Maybe Jesus.
I want to say Divergent. No, that's not right. Celestials, the god damn it, the monster versions.
Yeah.
Anyway, they said the snap caused them to come back. Well, what if that snap also triggered mutant abilities in people? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that
that's
activated the mutant. So that's why they were never around, because they didn't activate until just now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get to see kind of the birth, the all that in there. Joe says, CQ, what's up, brother? Gambit Disney Plus show would be good. Yeah, man, I agree. I Disney Plus shows. I think an X-Men show, and you could again introduce individually all the different characters, and then bring them together, and then boom, X-Men movie. I think
I know how to do it. I figured it out.
Okay,
right here.
Here we go, guys. Ladies and gentlemen.
Housing group.
Ladies and gentlemen, get Marvel on the line. We've got it. Go ahead.
Westview. The first mutants came from Westview. Wanda fucked him up with her magic. Wanda caused some sort of mutation with the fucking beekeeper dude who went in the fucking tunnel or whatever. Remember that dude?
Yeah.
When he left, fucking messed with his shit, and now X-Men, now mutants.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about
or something like that, like whatever. I'm sure when the new Doctor Strange movie comes out and Wanda's in there and they're gonna be fucking throwing magic around and shit, boom, hit somebody. Now they're fucking mutants.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. You know, that's how what's her name? Proton Photon got her powers, right? She went in and out of the bubble, and now she's got powers. And everybody that was there basically went in and out of that bubble, you know, multiple times depending. So if she got powers, you got to think a large majority of people that got powers out there in New Jersey. So we'll see.
I mean, that would be that'd be a very convenient tie-in to. I mean, basically, you could do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a post-snap, a post-Thanos direction you could take it and evolve these. Because we're already, and this is where I'm kind of confused with things, right? Okay. So then we know that the MCU is going to be coming out with, the Young Avengers. They've been talking about these people.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's
now we're looking at, what are we talking about? Like the Dark Avengers or West Coast Avengers, whatever. With
Secret Avengers, West Coast Avengers, Dark Avengers.
We've got all these new kind of. And Tony Stark's dead, and all these other things. Are like we're kind of evolving past the original cast, right?
Mm-hmm. Aging out, yeah.
And it's gonna be. It seems to me like it's gonna become very crowded.
It's possible,
right? And so, like, how do you have? Like the Dark Avengers, whatever the fuck they're calling Val's little group, and then the Young Avengers, and then like you've got like your Space Avengers with the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to be huge now with Thor and everyone in it.
Sure.
Like how many more people are going to be in that little fucking tiny spaceship going around? And then you still got Natalie Portman coming in as Thor now.
Yep.
It just seems like it's going to be very, very crowded. And yeah, they need the Avengers New Orleans down with the fucking shop vac, clean that shit up.
I mean, and I think you kind of touched on it too. They're saying like, well, now there's gonna be an Avengers West Coast. Like everything's been based out of New York for the longest. I mean, eventually they gotta say, okay, there's too many teams, so we spread them out.
Well, and then you've got whatever this whole fucking platoon of Wookiees over here now. Like, so how? It just seems like there's a lot going on. How So how do you have like do you have like the space? Well, we're for all practical purpose, we're gonna call them the Space Avengers. Okay, sounds good to me.
Sure.
But you've got the Guardians of the Galaxy plus Thor and whoever else is up there with them now, Captain Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
right? Going up fighting like space aliens and shit. We know that fucking He Who Remains or whatever, Kang,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but he's coming, right?
Yep.
Are they all gonna be fighting Kang? Like, are they gonna have like different?
Possible.
That's what I'm just trying to. I mean, like,
We don't know. We don't know.
It just sounds like a lot going on.
I am so excited for Shang-Chi to come out next week, right? Yeah, next week. Because inside sources say like this movie is very important for understanding where Phase 4 is headed. And that's all they said about it. So I'm hoping that all these questions that we have are kind of like, what are we building to? Where are we, like, what direction? You know, we always knew we were headed towards Endgame, right? Past, like, I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we knew we were headed to Endgame. Like, we knew we were headed to this Infinity War. And I think that's what a lot of us are lacking. All of us that are passionate about it, we're like, you know, that's why you get so excited for like the next Spider-Man movie, because you're just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's coming next. You get so excited for it. I can't believe we've been talking about this for so long. I gotta talk about the next thing.
No, Jim Handy, what if Thanos and his stones summoned all the Power Rangers?
That could be an episode of What If. I mean, if they got the rights from Saban and Mattel, who I think now owns Saban, then yeah, that could be a What If. I'm excited what they're gonna do with What If. I have a theory, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, that they're gonna tell all these separate stories, but that these separate stories are gonna start to interweave and intertwine. You know, that you see like
in the series.
The series of What If, like you'll see Captain Carter appear again. You'll see you know, this version of Doctor Strange appear again. I think it's just a theory. It's a theory I have, but I think I'm right.
Yo,
what's up? He's formulating.
Well, at the end of this last one, they showed Nick Fury
with Captain America and Captain Marvel. Yep.
So we're gonna get Cap out the ice, but we're gonna have Captain Carter too. What if they're gonna bone and make like
super baby, super Captain, Captain baby?
Yeah, Captain Baby,
super Captain baby. All right. Ooh, I gotta show you guys this.
Lieutenant. Lieutenant Baby.
We're gonna left turn from Marvel here for a second and DC talk. This one's very cool. So a while back,
DC talk, isn't that like a Christian man?
We talked about how Resident Evil the movie was getting rebooted, and how we didn't like the name of it because it's gonna be called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Not a big fan of the name. I'm gonna be honest. It sounds like a series. Sounds like a series. Doesn't sound like a movie, a true movie. But
sounds dumb.
I'm enthusiastic, knowing who's directing it, knowing who's writing it, knowing that they're trying to keep more faithful to the video game than what the last Resident Evil series did. We have our first images for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, set to release November 24th if nothing changes. So take a look at this. Here's our first image, which is absolutely now these images were shared by IGN. They had the exclusive on it, so shout out to IGN for getting pics. So here's okay, let's see. This one is here we go. Leon, played by Avin Jaga, and Claire, played by Kaya what happened to like Ben Smith and
all their names are used up.
It's Kaya Sculdelario. So Leon's yeah, I know, right? It's Leon's in his police uniform and Claire's obviously in her classic red jacket. So that's, I mean, pretty accurate-ish to the series. Although I thought Leon was like a white dude with like blonde hair, but I could be remembering wrong.
It's whatever.
It is. Tis what it is. Here's screenshot 2, which is obviously kind of entering the building, the mansion, as it were. We've got Albert Wesker, played by Tom Hopper, Brad Vickers, played by Nathan Dales, Jill Valentine, played by Hannah John Kamen, and Chris Redfield, played by Robbie Amell. And so this is obviously them in Spencer Mansion. Pretty cool. Again, looks pretty accurate to when in the first game, you know, the team shows up. And this is kind of where they split, and the one dude gets bit, the whole thing. And of course, they split up because who stays together in a scary mansion? They all got to split up.
That sounds dumb.
And now, screenshot 3, little creepy. This is the first look photo of Lisa Trevor. The character is Lisa Trevor, played by Marina Mazepa, a monstrously transformed woman and the daughter of the Spencer Mansion's architect that was exposed by the Umbrellas Corporation to a number of experiments and viruses at the Arklay laboratory. So yeah, that's creepy AF. So yeah, so and I will say this. I share those. One of the people in one of those photos will be here on Pop Culture Warrior in the coming weeks to talk about the movie. So I don't want to spoil it just yet. But one of the people you just saw in one of those photos will be on this show before the year is out, because the movie comes out November. It's supposed to come out November 24th, right before Thanksgiving. So they're going to come on, talk about the movie prior to the release. So keep your I hope you like the page, follow, subscribe, because we're gonna be talking about that one. That's gonna be a fun one. What are your thoughts based on the images? Thoughts?
I don't know. It'd be all right.
Jim, you're
Jim
a funny
Handy
man.
said it best. That thing looks like a messed up circumcision.
Yeah, that thing was.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. That thing was
but
a mess.
I think it's got some potential. I think those initial shots will look completely different once they get through post.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So it's hard for me to like look at those and be like, yeah, that looks amazing, because it looks whatever. Yeah. And they're going to make it better.
I mean, yeah, and I try to judge based on, okay, the appearance of, like, how do the costumes look, and how does the backdrop look, how does it set the ambiance, the atmosphere of what they're going for. And I think, like I said, I believe in the writing team that's behind this. I believe in the directing team behind it, and I like a lot of the actors that they chose. I'll say a lot of the actors they chose for the parts. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. I have a feeling. It's gonna be good. And Elena, God, I hope I'm saying your. Let me know if I'm saying your name wrong.
You said you're saying it right.
Okay, Elena. Oh, thank God. I won't be. She says I won't be able to see it. You're talking about Shang-Chi. I won't be able to see it because I'm too compromised to go to the theater right now. Give me a warning before you. Yes. First of all, I never spoil things. Now, we did kind of spoil. Like, if you didn't see the last episode, we did kind of spoil it. But I don't typically spoil it. Hold on, we're getting a call here. Let's see who's gonna call us here. Hello, caller. You're live. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Who's this?
Hello. Is this Army? What the fuck?
Hey, this is WTF Nation Radio. Yes.
Wait. Am I like being broadcast right now?
You are currently being broadcast live on the show. Yes, we are live right now. Would you prefer not to be?
Oh yeah.
All right. Fair enough, man. God bless. God bless. I love it. We got the best fans. Yeah, so going back to, I no problem. I don't spoil it, especially movies. I know it's harder. You know, obviously we'll talk about the shows because, come on, if you don't got Disney Plus, man, watch the damn episode. But especially with the movies, I do try to be very spoiler free because I love people to see it with their own eyes and to experience with their own eyes. So I'm very excited to see it, but I will let you know what I think of the movie, but I will not spoil it. And I will tell you I think I'm pretty honest when it comes to if I think it was a good movie or not, right? I think I've been fair with the ratings. I think I've given, call a spade, so to speak. Yeah, everybody's loving that. Yeah, that's for Joe. That's a good one. At least he's not calling you about your car warranty. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I got like 4 of those calls today.
Let's see. Let's see. Real quick, two quick things, and then we're gonna cut to break for our special guest tonight. Posted earlier today, Kevin Smith, Clerks 3, the movie he's working on right now, wraps tonight. So if you're a big fan of the Clerks franchise, he's been shooting for a month, which is incredibly fast. How these guys burn through these pictures, man.
But he does that. He's known
that's his style. It's very, I don't want to say low budget, but it's dialogue. We're going to sit in the scene. We're going to talk. There's not a lot of set pieces, not a lot of action, things and whatnots. So obviously this is his first new feature since he did Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. And this will be about the Clerks guys. And apparently, inside sources tell me that the kind of the story behind this is obviously Randall, who's always been the rambunctious of the two main characters. He's going to go through something that Kevin Smith himself went through. He's going to have a heart attack, and it's going to make him it's going to make him change the way he views the world and how he deals with things. And yeah.
Did he get his motherfucking movie check?
Wait, say that again?
Did he get his motherfucking movie check and that gave him a heart attack? Or what?
I guess so. So yeah. So for those that are Kevin Smith fans, Clerks 3 is wrapping tonight, and so therefore we'll be out soon. We'll keep our ears peeled for that one. And I have one last one before I let you go. They just released the latest trailer, and this will be the last trailer for James Bond's next movie, No Time to Die, which is set to debut, hopefully, fingers crossed, October 8th. So just a little over a month from now. So why don't we, I can cue this up just right, why don't we check out that movie, that trailer?
Yeah, check it out.
How about that? Let's see, here it is. And where the hell did I put it? There it is. All right, guys, let's check out the trailer for No Time to Die. All right, that is James Bond's No Time to Die, which will be the last appearance, the final James Bond movie for Daniel Craig. What'd you think, Radar?
I don't know. It looks like every other fucking Bond movie.
I mean, that's the fucking...
Doesn't it?
What do you want him to be sitting there playing Sudoku and be like, well, that's definitely different than what I used to. Yeah, Kaz, that was Rami Malek. Yeah, they brought in a lot of heavy hitters.
It's a good cast.
Yeah, Rami Malek. They got Christopher Mintz. They got Jeffrey Wright. They got a bunch of top tier guys. All right,
but it's like fucking Fast and the Furious, but with guns and better actors. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be decent. It's a fucking Bond film. It's gonna have great special effects. It's gonna have great actors, but it's gonna be this. Maybe they should have him die.
I mean, it's his last appearance. There's been rumor that they're going to. Yeah, there's rumors that they're going to pass the torch, try to mix it up and make it like female or black or I don't know. Which whatever, man.
That's fine. I don't give a shit about all that. Like, I don't give a shit who James Bond is anymore. Like, but make it a good fucking movie, and that'd be actually really cool. Give him like a sad death, kind of like what they did with fucking Robert Downey Jr. or fucking Black Widow.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
All right,
make it good.
I hate to cut us off. We do got to toss to break, guys. I'm gonna go grab my guest. Don't go far. It'll be a short break, 5 minutes tops. So hang in there, and when we come back, we're gonna have the wonderful Anastasia Washington joining us. So we'll be back after a short break. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio. Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Pop Culture Warrior. I'm your host, CQ. As always, I am super excited for tonight's guest. Ooh, where to start? My guest tonight is a Los Angeles native. She began professionally acting and singing at just 3 years old and has done everything under the sun in the biz since then. She's an actress, a comedian, podcaster, writer, director, singer, model, Comic-Con panelist, for Christ's sake. Her work can be seen on screen in productions such as The Addams Family movies and Die Hard 2. She also modeled for big name brands such as Nordstrom, NYDJ, Dickies, ModCloth, and Marvel. She's a lover of all things geek culture and has had the pleasure to host at WonderCon, San Diego Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con, Red Carpet Report, and more. Currently, she's working on creating more stand-up specials, podcasts, feature films, and a self-help book. Please give a warm welcome to my guest tonight, Anastasia Washington, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Woo woo.
One of these days, I'm going to get like an audience button, like an applause button. So just imagine wild applause from the audience.
I imagine it all the time. Just kidding. I'm completely sane.
Let me tell you, I get it. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. I'm, like I said, I got a chance to look you up and kind of see your body of work. And let me tell you, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. And I can't wait to dive into it. With that,
nice to be here.
I know I don't leave you anywhere to go with that. I'm just like, thank you, and you've done a lot. Cool. Let's just hang here awkwardly silent. No, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so right out the gate, same question I give everybody: what is your connection to the military?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of connections. My cousin served. My grandfather served in World War II. My first ever pen pal in Girl Scouts was a Desert Storm, like army guy that I wrote back and forth. He sent me sand from like all the different places he went. I was just like, I've always kind of been involved. I used to dance and sing for the veterans at different retirement homes and stuff like that. It's one of my first stages. So yeah, I mean, yeah. My mom worked for the USO, so wow, she danced for them. In the 60s. Is
that like the seed of which the kind of professional entertainer? Like I don't even know what I feel. It's short-sighted to call you actress, to call you comedian, because you do so much. How do you describe yourself? Is it just entertainer? Is it? I mean,
yeah, I think entertainer's safer to say. Like I sometimes say like multi-hyphen, and then people get all like weird about that because that's like a bad word now to do more than one thing. But I just don't sleep, and I like to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I did come from a very musical and entertaining family, although they really were more about like serving in different ways, like serving the city or stuff like that, and more like practical, but always like music at night and writing and poetry and dancing and stuff, but also being serious. And I just cut out the serious and stayed with the music and singing and dancing and acting stuff, and it couldn't stop me. I would just go places and just dance. My mom loves to tell a story about I went to SeaWorld, which is another bad word I'm not supposed to say, but I went there when I was like 3, and I was tap dancing and singing instead of watching the Shamu show. And when the whale like jumped up and everyone clapped, apparently I took a bow thinking it was for me. And my mom was like, "We're in trouble. Let's get her an agent." So I guess like it was the influence of my family, because my mom was a dancer and my dad, was such a great singer, and he used to do so many impressions. but they were a lot more practical than I am. I went headfirst into this industry, and I was like, that's all I want to do. So yeah, I guess influenced by them for sure.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, so as I was reading in the intro, you're a native of Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
That's a city that is a major transplant hub, and yet here you
Yes.
were, kind of from there. I'm originally from New York City, so I get it. I'm used to being like, oh, I'm from New York. Like, nah, you weren't born there. You don't get it. But you get it. You get it.
Yeah.
So having been, give us a peek behind. What's the backstory? Like, a big family, small family. I mean, who are you at that time?
I mean, my parents met here. They were both transplants. My mom was from New Orleans and my dad was from Chicago. My dad was like, a young striking gentleman, and my mom was like, like a young woman. And they met, and during the 60s, when it was illegal in 11 states for Black and white couples to marry, and they married, and then they had 3 daughters, and I am the last one. I am what I am referred to in the family as a pleasant surprise, or an oops, I think is a more accurate. I'm a pleasant surprise. I was supposed to be the flu. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm significantly younger than my sisters. They're like Irish twins, and then there's like 13 years, and then there's me. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's it. So I mean, yes. So I mean, that's. I mean, I'm no psychologist by any means, but that's got to play into the like. Even though you have sisters, they're
Yeah.
like young parents. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They're not the kids you go play with. Because by the time you're 7, 8, they've got to be almost 20.
Yeah.
So I mean, that must have been. It's like you were raised an only child in a bigger family. Like,
Exactly.
that's a
And
strange.
they started having kids, and then like I was an auntie at like 9, but then like sometimes I try to talk to my niece, and I'm like, I'm your aunt, and she's like, we grew up together. Calm down. I'm like, but no, but respect, no,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's a weird dynamic. But I have a large Catholic family, so there's lots of us in all different nationalities and all over so it's really it's a gumbo pot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes things awkward. I imagine. My wife, her youngest brother is 16 years old. Now, I'm almost 40. So it's weird to be like, okay, this is my brother, but I legitimately could be his father, and I've been mistaken for his father, many times. So I understand the dynamic, the dilemma of being a generation behind. It makes things awkward, and I can imagine. I'm just putting my hat on here, and I'm thinking, so if I had to guess, right? You're the youngest, you're the baby. Everybody's older. You, to get the attention, you kind of have to perform. You kind of have to be the center of attention, right? To gain
Yeah.
that, you have to tell the jokes and run around and be a little naughty, get into trouble.
Basically got my childhood forever. Like at first, like when my sisters were young, like I was like a baby doll to them. They would just like dress me up, and they would like make these like scenes on a whiteboard and like make me sing songs. And so like their generational like pop culture really kind of got absorbed by me, because I was really like singing their songs at a very young age, watching their movies at a very young age when I wasn't really supposed to, and they were supposed to be babysitting me, stuff like that. I saw Pet Cemetery way too young, but it's just like, but now it's like people are always like, how old are you? And I'm like, I don't know, because I know all these different time periods, and I liked listening to what they listened to, obviously, and I liked listening to what like older people. I didn't really grow up around a lot of like my grandparents weren't alive when I was around, so I would love to go to like old age homes and stuff like that and listen to them and listen to their music and stuff like that. I just like absorb pop culture from all different decades, because I guess I'm thirsty for it.
Yeah.
So
And I think part of that too is I truly believe this. There's, I've talked to a lot of actors, I've talked to a lot of comedians, and there's a part of you, right, that craves the attention, right, that you want to be the spotlight. That's why you put yourself out there.
Right.
And that part of, especially the acting part of it, of being the chameleon, right? You have to change who you are to fit your surroundings. You had older siblings and parents and all these things that if there's no one your age, you had to mold your behavior and your the essence of your spirit, whatever you want to call it. And that mold, that, I don't know if it's the drive that, like, now I want to get into theater. Now I want to get into performing because this is what I've done. This is how I've grown up, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about like, like being biracial. There's like this thing about code switching, right? And I think a lot of biracial kids out there will probably like how you act around certain things. I also had generational code switching, and then starting to work so young. You're around adults, and like I just learned. They used to call me like baby woman because I would just talk like a little tiny like woman. Like I just like was very, and I was kind of bossy. Okay, I was very bossy, and I would always have like a whole bunch of guys because I was kind of like very tomboyish. I would wear dresses, but I'd be playing basketball and running and like doing
Right.
So it was just like I was like all over the place, but I could switch to different places pretty easily. And I think that's a great skill that I kind of still have, that I'm pretty comfortable in whatever you plop me in, for the most part. There's been some times I'm like, I don't want to be here, but I may not act like it.
I totally understand. I grew up in a Puerto Rican household in Spanish Harlem, but I can pass as a white dude. So the idea of being able to like jump in between the sex of people and like fit in, it's something we grew up with, and you just it's a switch that you would just kind of flick back and forth. Like, I'm at home speaking Spanish, I'm on the street talking to my guys, whatever. Yes, and guys in the chats, if you have questions for Anastasia, feel free, throw them out there, we'll get to them. I already see a few, and Elena brings up a great point. She's talking, we're obviously talking about the age gap. She said, especially at the age, because your parents are so like whatever at that point, you're the third child, you're whatever. And she's speaking as the youngest of 7, whose oldest sibling is 14 years older. So yeah, my wife's one of 9. I second oldest of 9, and I'm just like, every week is somebody's birthday. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Which is great for me because I'm obsessed with cake. So I would be great in your family.
Yeah. As soon as we got married, I gained like at least 80 pounds in the first couple of years because it's always always a birthday, a party, and they're all Spanish. So you know how Spanish people do. It's Tuesday, let's party. Like, that's just how they do. So this is first question from the chats. Jim asks, who has been your worst stalker?
Worst stalker?
Yeah, I don't know. He might be your first. I don't know.
He's definitely not my first, but I don't know. Like, that's such a I don't know. Like, I there's sometimes you run into people at like Comic-Con. I think it wasn't really a stalker, but there was like a weird situation where I was walking from my hotel to a panel, and this guy was like, "Hey, give me a hug, you pretty." And I was like, no. He goes, "Oh, you're gonna not give me a hug?" And I was like, okay. And then I gave him a hug, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna hug me like that?" And I was like, I don't know what to do, man. I have to get to work. Like, so you get stuff like that. But then like one time I was going on the subway, and this guy was like, "Will you marry me?" And I was like, "No, not today." And he was like, "Well, thank you for that. We could revisit this." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what my options are later. Who knows?" So I just think
exchange numbers just to see. You never know.
For the most part, you get like, really good people out there that, are shooting their shot. And you know what? You got to respect that.
Yeah.
And you got to also be like, cool, but here's my boundary. So I don't know.
Smart.
I don't know.
Smart.
It feels like
I'm curious. I'm going to spin off of that one.
Okay.
Which by the way, Jim says, I'm glad she hasn't noticed my tent yet. It's still hidden. All right. So he's behind you. No. So that triggered a thought, obviously being as public as you are, in that you've been in TV, movies, podcasts, YouTube, everywhere, comedy, especially stand-up comedy, you know, you're opening yourself up to critique. You're opening yourself up. You're putting yourself out there. Trolls, especially nowadays, are aplenty. There's no shortage. So
Right.
how do you navigate that? I know some people are, hey, I don't read the comments at all. Some people are like, I don't engage. I read it, but I don't engage. Some people are like, I take them on head on. Where do you kind of fall in that spectrum of the negative comments, the trolls, the things like that?
It depends. I will say I'm like a glutton for like reading things. Like I will read it. And you know, sometimes it bugs me. Like I'm not gonna lie. But it depends. Like when I was on, you know, Agents of Shield after show, people were very fact checky, and you literally watch an episode and then you go immediately on, and you're trying to remember all these facts and stuff, and sometimes you mess up. So I remember, you know, a lot of people would call me on facts and stuff like that because your brain doesn't always work. You're doing multiple shows or whatever, and you mess up. And so for those kind of things, I always thought it was great to just start a discussion with people because I think people don't always realize that you're human and that like, so I'd be like, oh yeah, I totally got that wrong, but blah 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 blah, blah, and I should have said, but and usually people would have a conversation with you through the comments or Twitter and whatever, and realize that you do know your stuff, but also just like anybody, you can mess up.
Mm.
And so that was a big thing, especially being a woman in the nerd world. You get checked a lot. And, you know, it used to freak me out. I used to like lose my, like every, you know, people would be like, oh, you like Wolverine. That was like, you know, Wolverine's my favorite. And then they would like fact check me. And then I would like panic. And now I'm like, nah, back off. I own Hulk 180. Leave me alone. Okay. I know my stuff, you know? So I think that was like one of those things that I had to get used to. When people talk about your body or something like that, I'm pretty confident about that. Like growing up in the industry, I was always taller and like curvier and everything like that. And so I've heard it and I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know, I make money off, you know, taking pictures of this. It's good. We're fine.
Hey,
But
nothing wrong
you
with
know,
that.
every once in a while, you know, like every once in a while I call my peeps and I'm like, you know, that one kind of got to me. I think it's just good to have like a sounding board of people that understand. And sometimes you have to tell people, and I think this goes for anything that like really anybody. When something's super bothering you and you need to vent and you just go, I don't need any, there's no fixing this. I just need to let it out.
Mm.
You know, because there's nothing you can fix about a troll.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I love you know, engaging them is not gonna do anything. Like
Right.
it's gonna encourage them. If anything, it's gonna,
Right.
like, they know they got to you, so they're just gonna go even harder.
Yeah, and there's levels of trolldom, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't mind engaging in like an intelligent conversation about like maybe, you know, like there's opinions or something like that. That's fine. We can debate, we can talk. That's cool. But if you're just like attacking, there's nothing I can say, dude. You've already made up your mind.
Right.
Or chick, you know, there's stuff.
Exactly. No, I think that it touches on a great thing. Mental health is so important. I think that's such a great, you have such a great attitude about it, because being able to be honest with yourself and like, oh, that bothered me, and I can't, maybe I can't process it on my own. And I always tell people, have a support system, have people you go to, confidants, that you can be like, look, man, this dude said this thing, or it hit me. Oh, I don't even know why. And having that is such an important thing. And I think everybody, all people, whether
Everyone can, benefit from that. Like I have anxiety, like, you know, and that's like people are like, how can you be in an industry like this and have anxiety? I don't know. It works most of the time. But like, you know, one of my favorite things to say to my mom, who's like a very good supporter of me, is like, I know that this is not founded in any facts and there's probably no evidence to support this, but this is how I feel about this situation. And I at least know that like I'm just like I call it my terror loop. Like I'll just like, you know, and so then like sometimes you just need to get it out. You're getting out the possibilities of things instead of what's actually happening. And I think we need to be honest about those, because I think a lot of people do.
That's true. It's so true. And I want to touch on too on the point that you were talking about, that being harder for nerd girls or nerd chicks or however, whatever inclusive term is. Like, I've seen it, and I don't think it's fair, but I've seen it where it's like one guy says to the other guy, he's like, I love Deadpool, and the other guy's like, oh man, what's your favorite moment? Female goes, I love Deadpool. Well, on page 3 of comic 83, what did it say? What was the misspelling on the second panel? And you're like, what the fuck? What?
It's so true though. It's so true though. And I think it has to do with like growing up, like this was like I've been a nerd since forever. Like I was the one that was like on the playground, like actually like exchanging comic books and I all kinds of stuff. Like I was just, I was that chick that was like, I'm gonna marry Skeletor or Wolverine or the Crypt Keeper and not you. Like that's the kind of stuff I used to tell boys when I was like 7. So I've gotten a lot of stuff over the years, and it wasn't popular. It just wasn't popular to be a female nerd, and fellow nerd guys didn't really want to talk to you either. And now that it's like really like a big mainstream thing, there's a lot more of us women out there, and we feel a lot more confident about going out there. But I think that because as a female nerd, we had kind of our own community and we kind of hung back for so long, and now we're out and proud and whatever, and we are in the mix. I think it's hard. It's hard for them. It's hard for the guys. And so, and there's a lot of new ones that found out that it was a fad and are coming up, and welcome. And that's great that you're here. And we have to understand that there shouldn't be any bitterness. But I think there is sometimes when we were nerds and we were called all kinds of names and teased about it and all that stuff like that. And then these like, people that weren't that way and didn't get treated that way are now at conventions and whatever. And so I think that's where the fact checking comes from. I do think it comes from just fear and also a little bitterness of like, well, you weren't here before. You stuffed me in a locker. Like, I remember those days.
Almost a little insecurity,
sure.
of like, this is my thing, and you're just showing up.
Right. You just got here. You don't even go here. Leave me, and so it's like, I get it. And so I try to respect it as much as I can. And I try to play along as much as I can, but I get frustrated with it. And there's stuff that I'm not like, listen, I love Marvel. I love horror movies. Like I love James Bond, like that kind of stuff. If you try to talk to me about DC, I may not be able to hang as much. Right. And that's just the thing is like people have to recognize that we're nerdy about what we're nerdy about. We're not necessarily nerdy about everything. I mean, there are people that are like, they know everything about every nerd thing. There's some stuff I'm not strong at, and I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going to be like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that, and I've always felt that the nerd culture, the geek culture, the pop culture, the whole point has been about inclusivity. And being welcome, right? You've got that full spectrum from furries, cosplayers, everything in between. And if you're the Johnny Come Lately, the guy that was like, hey man, I just saw that Endgame movie, that was pretty cool, and it's like, that's the first one you saw, like, like, okay, right, okay, cool. Welcome to the club. Take a breath
and be like, and I have my moments, but I tend to, like everyone says about, I tend to be super too empathetic in situations, but I also, so I try to like go, okay, why do you feel that way? And like, what can I do to like, let's talk it out. But I will say I've had my nerd rage moments. Like I remember I was talking to some girl at a trivia night and she was talking to me about who the best James Bond was. And she was like, it's Daniel Craig. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, so you've seen all the James Bond movies? And she's like, no, I haven't even seen a whole Daniel Craig movie. And then I was like, then you don't have the right to an opinion, very loudly in a bar. And then I realized, hey, maybe I shouldn't have this reaction. Maybe it's not that serious. But it was. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, let's try to simmer it down. But so I get it. I get those moments. I get why we get those moments at cons because I have them too. So I try to be respectful. I try to be empathetic. And I think empathy is catching. So let's just let's try to each other.
Honestly, I feel like if more people loved comic books, the world would be a better place. Like
for sure.
The whole point, right? The whole point is doing good and being good and being just and truth. Was it truth, justice, and the American way? Like all these things, you know, and avenging your dead parents. All these things. That if everybody,
all of these things. It's very important.
Experimenting with radioactive material, get bit by animals, the whole nine. Yeah, everyone should do these things.
And I think you know, there's so many different comic books out there. There's a comic book for everybody. And I've always been a more anti-hero type of girl because obviously I have a problem with empathy. And so I'm like, why does this person feel that way? Maybe they're not 100% bad. There's a gray area. And so I love anti-heroes because they're just like straddling. They're like,
I can fix you.
Good. And I know I'm that girl, man. Like, I'm like, it's okay, Punisher. I get it. You're really upset.
We can talk this out. We can talk it out.
Venom, listen, you're complicated. We can date.
Fair enough.
You know, like,
fair enough.
There's something about me that's like, you know, I don't know.
I get it.
That was such a weird tangent. So I'm sorry.
No, this is you couldn't be the more perfect guest for this show. Let me tell you. That's how we operate here. Okay, so let me get to some things. So okay, we're gonna do some fact checking on your IMDb page here because it says that you provided vocals for movies like Addams Family Values. This is like sequel, Die Hard 2, and Newsies. So I have to hear more. How, what, how, where, when, why, how, what?
So I had a different name as a kid because it was the age of the name change. They changed my name like three or four times. I have like so many names on SAG. But when I turned 18, I changed my name to my actual birth name because I like my birth name. So long story short, anyway, when I was a kid, in the first Addams Family movie, there is a talent show where there's a whole bunch of singing flowers. Mm-hmm. I am singing flower. That I'm one of the singing flowers.
Okay.
And so I sang the song, and I was also in it, and it was great. You know, like we were there for like a week, and Raul Julia, it was like such a dream guy to like work with. He like had lunch with us every day. It was great. And then they brought us back for the second, and we did all the songs for the camp. And so that was a great experience. Like I love those movies, and you know, they still are doing well. So they are doing well for me as well in the residual area. And then Die Hard 2. Okay, so everyone's favorite Die Hard. I'm just kidding. Nobody likes it. But anyway, if you did like it,
I'm a fan.
I like it. It's a great Christmas movie. You heard that? It's a Christmas movie. Somebody's gonna get mad at me. So in the beginning, there's also a whole bunch of singing carolers, depending on the one you're watching. The American, you see our feet and you hear a whole bunch of singing, and then the whole place, like, you know, goes into chaos. Europe, you get a little solo face of me singing, and then a little blow uppy of chaos. And that was a really fun shoot too. We were at Tom Bradley Airport. They like had the whole terminal just for filming. And they had like these fancy catering, and Bruce Willis just saw all of our faces. Like all his kids were like, ew. Like, you know, they had pasta, like a pasta station with like lobster and stuff. And we're like, this is disgusting. And so he went out and got us Happy Meals because we were children, and that is what we wanted instead.
Nice.
You know, it was just such a cool experience. I know he gets a bad rap, but I never experienced that as a child. So
I would hope not. My God, if he was mean to children, Jesus.
Be surprised. Some of the guys that or women that I've been around as a child actor or soundtracks and stuff like that, where you see some stuff and you're like, all right.
So how early in your life did you start doing all these things? You know, obviously, you know, you started very young. very young.
Yeah.
So, was this something that, like, as a child, you're just like, I want to be in movies, and they got you an agent? Like, how do you get into the child acting part of it?
I just wouldn't stop singing and dancing everywhere. And my mom finally, I kind of remember my first audition. I was like 3 years old, and I sang a Good Ship Lollipop and I tap danced. And I got my first manager from that audition and just started working steadily from there. Yeah, and I did a lot of singing. Anytime they like 80s and 90s singing children, probably me, either like in it and singing it or just singing it like in some format. And it was great. Like, I loved it. My mom would be like, if you don't get this audition, it's okay. You can quit any time. And I was always like, even if I had a bad day, I would like cry or whatever. She'd be like, okay, so quit. And I'm like, nope, no, just let me cry and get over it.
Move past it.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of children that are forced into it. And I'm not going to say it's an easy life. We see a lot. You work and you go to school and you're trying to be a kid and you hear things earlier than you should probably hear them. But I will say I don't regret it. And it was definitely like my whole dream and what I wanted. And I was very pushy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the difference, right? That's the difference of, this is a passion. This is something you want to do versus like, they're like, you're a cute kid, get to work,
Right.
I put out there.
And I've seen those. I've seen a lot of those. My mom reported quite a few when I was a kid, because she was like, that's not cool. But I never had that. Not to say that, again, it's an easy way to be brought up. And I talk about it in my stand-up, like how I didn't realize it was weird. Some of the stuff that I, like went to, like, I went to the Academy Awards when I was like 6 or 7. I went to Neverland Ranch for Michael Jackson. I did a Michael Jackson album, and then we got to go to the ranch. And like, I think about that now, and I'm like, people just didn't have these like experiences, but then they had like other experiences that I didn't have. Like, right? Like, I never went to prom. But I did go to a Bruce Willis tribute when I should have been going to prom. And I was working that. Like, we all have our different things, but I didn't realize it was so weird until I like started talking to a lot of like adults that had moved to Los Angeles and heard their experiences as like teenagers. Like, okay.
I'm curious, you talked about your parents. What do your older sisters do for a living? And I'm just curious, how does it compare to what you do?
Yeah. My oldest sister is a teacher and my middle sister is a doctor. And yeah, I mean, they had their moments. They almost started a girl group, like when they were teenagers, like around the TLC era, with my cousin, like a rap group. They had their moments of acting and singing and stuff like that. But they really kind of heard my dad and mom when they were like, hey, you should probably have a backup plan. And they kind of went with a career driven, not that acting's not a career.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They went into the traditional professions.
Like a more traditional, steady career.
Yeah, sure.
You're
going to get a paycheck. You're gonna have work next week.
Steady income. They went for steady, normal income.
Yeah, I feel like by the time they got to you, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Just you want to be a unicorn? Go be a unicorn. Just go.
Yeah, because I was so feisty. And I was very different than my sisters, I think, in that aspect where like I was just like, nah, I'm gonna do this. So. I respect you, I love you, but I'm gonna do this.
So you mentioned it too, and I was curious as I saw this that you did Michael Jackson's History. I'm curious, what was that experience like? And obviously you must have had an angelic voice, right? To be in all these musical things where they're relying. I mean, I've known a lot of kids, and they're not all great to hear. But I'd imagine you got so much steady work that you must have had a great voice. How did the Michael Jackson thing? What was that experience like to do that?
It was interesting. I will say it was one of the most intense experiences of my career because it was so much like interviews and paperwork and stuff like that. It was like I worked with Disney a couple times when I was a kid, and that was like an intense process. But like Michael Jackson was like another process. And I think he was an interesting man. Like I had this idea like when I was a kid that I could grow up and just become him, and like I was like I'm gonna become him. And then when I met him, I was like, oh, he's like a real man with like issues and stuff going on. And so I think it was a real big realization that a talented man could still have so much going on. And I was pretty young to learn that, I think, but I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, and you just can't like become a person when you grow up. You have to like become you in whatever form.
Right.
But it was great. Like, I mean, who can, like that's such a great thing I can say that I worked with such a great performer. Whatever else, I worked with a great performer.
Yeah. I mean, look, say what you will about the guy, but
not to get into any of
yeah,
this,
the music and the career
yeah.
speaks for itself. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't take
Yeah.
away what we. Well, who knows? We'll never know what really is whatever is. But
Right.
uh,
Yeah,
I grew
like,
up on the music. I was singing and dancing, and like you was very like, oh my God, that's the top of the mountain right there. And
Yeah.
then you learn things, and you're just like, wow, okay, maybe I'm happy just being me.
yeah, and I think it's just like we're all human. Like I think there's something about seeing uh celebrities and seeing that they are human and they have problems and that they have insecurities and stuff like that. And I think people talk about it more now, but I don't think a lot of people knew that kind of stuff back then, and I got to see a lot of that. And I think it made me like very empathetic to performers and very empathetic to people in general, because I was like, you could be at the top of your game, you could be making all the money in the world, and if you don't feel good about yourself, it still sucks. So choose to be happy. Like choose as much as you can to be happy, and that's a choice. And like what can I do to achieve that? Like, and it's usually not monetary.
Yeah.
It's usually like health, like mental health stuff. So,
I
you
man,
know.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, man. There's so we're having such a good time here, and we're running short on time, and I'm like, I have so many questions for you. So I'm gonna get because we're just having a good time here. You were part of the Agents of Shield after show. I mean, that is so ridiculously cool. I'm a huge fan of Clark. We've actually had Clark Gregg on the show here.
Oh,
So
amazing.
yeah, he's such a nice guy, just the most wonderful guy. And I I'm assuming you're a Marvel fan. You were a fan of the show. Like, what is that experience like? What do you get to do this thing that like you're like watching the episode and then breaking it down and like engaging the audience? What was that like?
It was really fun. Like I was very excited for my time on it. I will say there is something about just watching the show and just being a fan though. I will say that is amazing. To like absorb it as a fan and talk to your friends about it, and there is something about like having to like be like there and like watching it immediately and taking notes.
Right.
And like having to talk about it. I loved it. It got me so into attention to detail, as a filmmaker, as an actor, and stuff like that. Like watching stuff now, I pick up things so much better now that I've done after shows, because I think we had to pay attention to these things, and I think that only makes you better as a performer when you see what they're talking about, when you see what they're trying to do, when you find the plot points, and you find
Yeah.
I think that made me such a better a performer, to see that kind of stuff. And I had a great time with all the co-hosts and stuff like that. We had
Yeah.
we had so much fun.
It looked fun.
It was so fun. Like, I mean, I just loved talking about nerdy stuff with my friends. and getting a paycheck. It's great.
Yeah, of course.
It's the best of everything.
I tell young people, like I'm fucking grandpa.
All those young.
I tell all the youngins when they listen to me. I said the pinnacle of life is to find what you love and then get paid to do it. You could not be living a better life. You might not be getting paid a lot, but get paid enough to do it, and that you could live off of it. And I think that's kind of the pinnacle of it.
If you were gonna do it anyway for free, isn't it great to get a check for it?
For sure. Still wait. Station, I'm still waiting for that check to clear any day now. I'm still waiting for that. It's a touchy subject. We'll get to that. I just saw you on. I'm a big fan of the New Rockstars. They do a lot of great videos. They do a ton of great breakdown videos. I just saw you on the What If Captain Carter episode. How do you get wrapped up with them? How do you get involved with them?
So funny, stand up. One of my fellow stand-up comedians. We worked together, and also I was on her podcast and she was on my podcast and all that. And then she was like, "Hey, do you want to?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." It's like the community really looks out for each other. You know, you collaborate and you, as I like to say, cross-pollinate. And cross-promote. And it was really fun. It was, a very Captain Vegas episode, so that was uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you let a little cat out the bag about how you feel about a certain character and how you're not a fan of a certain captain. We don't have to get into it. But
I don't want to you can watch it and just hate me on.
I mean, it's not like I'm a fan.
I saw
not like I'm a fan or anything.
Oh man.
No, I get it. It's not, because you can't love them all. You can't.
I have my favorites and everyone else has their favorites, and I always have anxiety about it. Like you can look up like past episodes of Black Nerd or everything like that, and you'll of the Civil War. I'll talk about it and how much anxiety and how many nightmares I had about friendships breaking up about it.
Well, I mean, they forced your hand though. Like the marketing was like, "Whose side are you on?" Like it couldn't be like, "Hey, they both have they both have good opinion." Like no, it was very much pick a side.
Yeah, there's a gray area in there, and I was just like, if I have to choose, I chose, and I'm upset.
You chose poorly.
Sure. For somebody else, I chose poorly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, man. Oh my God, so many. You are so multifaceted. It's so hard to pick a lane. Let me tell you something. It's so easy. Like actor. Okay, we're gonna talk about acting and comedy. We're gonna talk about comedy. You're like all over the place. I love it because there's so much to touch on. Comedy obviously is a big part of your life. You are an exceptional performer. I watched some of your stuff.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I'm a fan. It's weird how much I can relate to your material as a male and one who is of a different ethnicity and grew up on a different side of the country, and yet I'm like, I get it, man. I get it. Anyway,
I mean, we have similarities. Like everybody, like I feel like, especially like being a nerd, I feel like it's so universal now. Like we've all gone through a lot of the same experiences. Being other than white is another experience that we can all, experience together. Just being other. Like I think I talk a lot about being other, and like I think a lot of people can feel that. And a lot of people, it may not be exactly my kind of other, but you can feel like how that feels. So hopefully people, dig that and dig like honest discussion, because I think it's important for comedy to start discussions. I think it's the best and easiest way to start a conversation, and a kind way.
Right.
Not all comedy is kind, but I try to be kind. you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
My mom's been telling me to rip her a new one every time, and I'm like, nah, mom.
You're
You're
not a
in the
roaster.
audience all the time.
I'm curious. How did you get your start in comedy? How did you find like this is something I wanted to do, and what was that start out experience?
You know, I always kind of like as a kid knew I was kind of like the best friend role in a lot of stuff. And so I think you start becoming like quirky when you're like, ah, I'm the best friend. You become quirky and stuff like that. And when I got out of high school, uh I disappointed my dad and did not go to college, instead went to like a very serious acting school, and I felt so stressed. like and so I started taking improv, and so I did improv for a number of years, and improv is amazing. It's such a good skill to have. I went through UCB's track, and I did musical comedy and stuff like that. And then it was hard with teams. Like teams are hard, you know, like teams get together and then they break up and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I just really don't want to have to depend on anybody for, you know, getting stuff out there. So I was like, people were like, try stand up. I was like, no. All alone up there, what would I talk about? I don't talk a lot. Oh, I talk a lot? Oh, okay. And so I took a class called Pretty Funny Women, which is a female based stand-up school, and I loved it. like
And that was
and
that.
I haven't, yeah, like I maybe took like 1 year off to do a lot of nerdy Comic-Con stuff, and I quickly came back, and I love it. So
Yeah. Well, you're good at it. Don't stop.
oh, thank
Uh,
you.
I'm curious. What is it that you love about stand up comedy, and then also what's like, oh, this is. But if this was something I could remove, right? Is this the thing that I hate about it? What is that?
I love, well, and this is the basis of everything I do, right? I love entertaining people, and I love having conversations with people and starting conversations with people. Like in my content, you know, like films or whatever I make, I like starting tough conversations, hopefully in a kind and fun way, which sounds like such a complicated, weird thing, but it's just like being coming from a place of honesty and love and empathy and just like it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal, you guys. Let's talk about it. But I think it's a lot of pressure in the comedy world to bring an audience, right, like social media and all that stuff like that. They call them bringer shows,
Mm.
right? I think that's the thing I hate the most, right? Because I just want to go up and perform the best I can be, you
Right.
know? And I think it's hard on comics, and I hear this all the time, and I try not to be bitter about it, but it's like, it's hard to do PR for yourself and also come out with content and come out with fresh ideas. And I mean, those are very different jobs.
Yeah.
But so sometimes I think that drains me a little bit. It's like I just want to show up and perform, and
Mm.
there's a time in my career that I'll be able to do that, I'm sure. you know. But for now, it's a lot of hustle and bringing the best to stage that you can.
Right.
I wish I could remove one of those.
And I'm sure there's a lot of, added stress and difficulty in that we live in an age of social media and technology. And so it's like, well, if you're not posting on Instagram, then you're nothing. If you're not on Twitter saying funny things, you're nothing. If you're not on TikTok doing the latest craze, you're nothing.
Right?
And it's I do this little show because I enjoy it. I love talking to people. I love engaging and create. And they're like, well, are you posting about it? I'm like, I have to do that too. Like,
Yeah.
this is exhausting just to do this.
It is because listen. Social media has brought so many like opportunities to me.
Sure.
Like it's brought people in my life that I wouldn't have talked to. Like like just because we tweeted about the same thing and now we're like friends and like we see each other and like it's crazy like how it is connected us. And so there's so much good about social media, but it can be draining.
Mm.
And as a creative, I want to create. because I want to create and I want to entertain and I want to make silly songs and I want to put up sketches. But when you have to be on such a social, I think it's just hard for creatives to be like, I have to be on a social like calendar, you know, like I have to have post this many times in this way, and it's hard.
Yeah. You
It's
have
not
to beat the
impossible,
algorithm.
right? It's not hard. I mean, it's hard. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like it is very like there are bigger problems in the world, but like if we're nitpicking, the most like annoying thing to me about having to be a comedian that's like, you know, not Chappelle, it would be that. It's like, you know, if I could have one less thing on my plate, that would be great. But you know, I know that's not where I'm at, and so I'm grateful that I even have the opportunity to have to promote. So that is a grateful thing that I am
That is
definitely,
true.
and yeah, so it is very nitpicky of me, but that is probably the way.
No, I tip my hat to you. I understand completely. I understand completely. And here's the thing: we're at the top of the hour, and I respect your time absolutely. I mean, if you have a few minutes, I got more questions. We can go, but if you have to go,
I have a few minutes. I'm good.
okay. Are you? I try to be punctual, but this has been so much fun, and we've gone off on so many awesome tangents that I've gotten through like not even half of my questions, but that's okay. That's okay.
No,
A couple
I'm
more.
good.
I've been having. I hope you're having a good time, man.
I am having a great time.
All right,
This is
excellent.
fun. I love nerding out. Come on.
What more can you want in the world?
Right, I'm like looking at all the action figures. You can't see all mine. I have like an Alf mask, an Ecto ones over there. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it can be an expensive hobby. Let me tell you, it can be very expensive.
My long boxes will tell you that for sure.
we'll have to when we go to break, man. We'll compare trophies. I got all mine up on the anyway. Whatever. I do want to touch on again. You are very accomplished at what you do. I saw that you had the 2020 Moving Parts Film Festival Award, the jury choice. Oh my God, I can't talk tonight. Jury Choice Award for He Said, She Said. And then the 2021, oh man, what is up with Mishus Film Festival?
Yeah, that one's a hard one. Yeah.
I'm not even gonna pronounce that one. But you won the outstanding short documentary for Free to Be. I mean, you got some what they call it? Some oh man, what's the term for this? You got some hardware, right? You got some statues.
I just I have another film coming out at Screamfest. We just got announced, which is totally up my alley because if there's two things I love in the world, it is horror and comedy. I love it, and to combine two things and to be recognized for it is amazing. But I just I'm always creating, I'm always collaborating, and I think it's so important as creatives that we do that and we keep going because if we wait for people to greenlight our stuff, it's a long wait. So just greenlight your own stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the same. So many people will come to me and they're like, oh, because I talked to Lou. I did a show where I was talking to Louis Anderson, and I talked to Clark Gregg. It's like, oh man, you get to talk to these. It's like, yeah, because I chase down, I'm banging on doors, I'm calling in favors. Like you gotta, if you don't promote for yourself, if you don't. You're not your own biggest advocate.
Yeah.
The world doesn't come to your doorstep. They don't. It doesn't come knocking. You got to go chase it down. So I respect the hustle. I respect what you do and what it is. Again, I took a peek at your IMDb, and I love this. There's a section in there called skills. I don't know if you're aware of this. It has skills for performer, for dance, for accents, and athletics. Can I check in with you on some of your skills listed?
Sure.
So under performer, I mean, very easy, very singing, stage combat. I mean, I'm sure voiceover work. I know you've done comedian, dancing, improv, and hosting. All makes perfect sense. Hey, clean, you're clear. In the dance category, you've got ballet, club and freestyle, belly dancing, line dancing, square dancing, jazz, tap, hip hop, and modern. I think that's all. That all falls
Yeah.
into.
If they had dance hall on there, I would also. That's my jam right now.
There
But
you
yeah.
go. There, I noticed twerking wasn't on there or anything like that. So
Exactly. What's going on?
yeah,
What have I been
nowadays.
doing for the last year learning?
Um,
Let me-
then we get into accents. So I'm really curious. Do all these qualify? Because there's Southern,
Mhm.
German,
Yeah.
New York, Bronx. I love that it's New York parentheses specifically Bronx.
Yeah, that one takes me a little bit. Like I have to listen to tapes for that one. I
Mm.
will say. Like Southern is pretty easy for me because I just drop into my mom, you know.
I like it.
You know, that's what I do. German is very I get very German a lot. I'm doing like like right now I'm doing this audio drama where I have to be French. And it's amazing, but sometimes because I like to emulate other people, they like I'll be in the studio and all at once I'll go on a tangent in like British or something. And they're like, stop, because you're gonna go into British, and I'm like, I am, aren't I? Oh no! Like, oh no!
You start sliding around in there, huh?
I start sliding into like Elmo voices and stuff, and they're like, please stop, Anastasia. I'm like, you're right. You're right.
I mean, they fact check. Yeah, but so okay, I love that you have New York Bronx and New York Brooklyn, because not a lot of people. Everybody just assumes New York is an accent.
No, it's different areas. Like
I
even
mean,
LA.
New Jersey,
LA is
yeah.
Yeah. And I have to talk to my friend from New Jersey every time I do New Jersey. Like he, you know, he doesn't think he has a New Jersey accent anymore. Well, he does.
I'd say it's one of those things you tend to slip into, because I know I grew up in New York, but I joined the military. I traveled the world. I lived in Italy for years and across or whatever. But every time I'll say coffee, water, like these things start to slip out, and then you go back, you visit family. Next thing you know, forget about it, and you get into all these things. And
It's you know, I think being a singer, I imitate people a lot. I try. I can slip into things. Like it takes me a little bit. Like I did a project last year for Netflix where I was Haitian. I'm never, you know, and I thought it was a joke. There's no way I was getting the job. So I listened to a whole bunch of like videos of, hey, I was actually like a Haitian boy, like a little boy, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get this. Listened to a whole bunch of videos, sent it off, got it. They're like, tomorrow at 10. I was like,
all right.
all right. So you know, like I think if you can imitate or you can sing, you could probably do a lot of imitations if you're just more confident. I wasn't very confident for years in it, and then I was just like, let's try it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, you got it. And finally, in the athletics, I'm fascinated.
Okay.
I'm fascinated because we've got cycling, right?
Yeah.
Tennis,
Mhm.
soccer.
Mhm.
Then it goes into, let's see what else, aerobics,
Mhm.
volleyball,
Mhm.
equestrian, which I think is pretty awesome. Ice skating,
Western, saddle.
Of course, no, of course, gotta know. Ice skating, rollerblading, fencing. I've always wanted to try fencing. Swimming, basketball, martial arts, yoga, softball, and boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, and a partridge in a pear tree. Like, what haven't you done? What?
I mean, I will say I had a very strict father, right? Growing up, we had to run the stairs every morning and play basketball because he thought he had 3 girls. Okay. So he was like, you guys are going to be the toughest ever. We had to be on a sports team. Even though I took dance for like 3 to 4 hours a day, I had to take a sport because that wasn't a sport. So I had to do a lot of different things, and I'm fascinated with movement. I'm fascinated with like martial arts and stuff like that. Right now, I'm like addicted to. I went back to boxing, and I'm just like all about boxing. Because it's pretty good to do solo right now with everything that's going on. Like you can't do a lot of like, you know, I did judo in college. You can't be doing that as much now with COVID. Well, you could. It just would be very gross and very not COVID safe. But yeah, so like I love movement. I love learning new things. Like, you know, last year for the first time I actually like I've done gun training where it's like a fake gun, and I actually did like a gun training class with a loaded gun. Whoa. But like, I was like, if I haven't done it, if I haven't tried it, I want to.
Yeah.
I'm weird like that, you know. A
No,
month
that's
ago, I
awesome.
was like, I want to do a wakeboard. I've never done the wakeboarding. That is hard, but I did it. You know, I'm just gonna do it.
I love that. I love it. You got to have the say yes attitude, man. Like just try. Firearms training. Love me some firearms. Yeah. You got to update your IMDb page. Now you're proficient.
Because I've done it for years with like just like the laser ones or the airsoft.
Yeah.
But holding one that was loaded is
got more weight than you think, right?
So different. Yeah. And I grew up around guns. My dad was a gun owner. And he went hunting and he did gun ranges and stuff like that. So I've always been around them, but I never like held one, like, you know, and there is something different about that. And there's something that like you can bring as an actor to a performance, knowing what it feels like to hold it. Like I'm sure 100% what I used to hold in like a stunt gun as versus now is so much different. And I'm sure that people that are very well versed in guns can tell when we've never touched a gun before. So I have a lot of respect for, I've always had a respect for weapons, but I have a lot more respect for weapons now. Just feeling like how it is. And, you know, again, like I have a cousin that served and stuff like that, so I know.
Yeah, all of us military, man. You watch that movie and you're like, the rank's on the wrong side. He didn't cock it. He didn't clear it. He's pointing it all over the place.
Now I'm noticing that stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, they're holding it. Their fingers on the trigger. Why would they have the finger on the trigger right now? That's you never do that.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Ruins everything for you.
It ruins everything.
Let me ask you one last question. I'm curious your thoughts in where we are in the world of pop culture. Some people say we are reaching a saturation point. Some people say the bubble's gonna burst, right? You know, it happened with zombies. It happened with vampires. Like there's going to get a superhero overload and or superhero fatigue, I hear a lot of people say. Do you think that that's anytime soon? Do you think it will happen? Do you think it's going to happen anytime soon? Or is there not enough? Does there need to be more?
I don't think that it's going to like go anywhere. I think we've always loved, obviously, the history that we've had with comic books will show us that we love superheroes forever. I think what is going to change is our superheroes, like what they are, who they are. I think they're going to get more complicated. They're going to get more real. They're going to get more diverse. We are seeing this. I'm so excited to see all the different changes. Like Eternals is making me so excited. Like, you know, just like all this stuff is just making me, we used to have just like very specific things that we could look to, like, you know, like She-Ra was my idol when I was a kid, right? I loved She-Ra, right? But she was not kind of like, she wasn't like me. I mean, like, you know, now I can see girls like me, you know, like there's plus size superheroes now. There's Muslim superheroes now. There's everything, everything. And I am excited to see that. We have Miles Morales. Like if I saw Miles Morales when I was a kid, I would have been so empowered. I would have been so like, I just, you know, it's so to me, I don't think superheroes are going anywhere. I think what's going to happen is they're going to become more in depth. They're going to become more real. Like, you know, we're going to focus on the important things, like, you know, that these characters are like us and that we want to see these different stories. Like, I mean, I think with the Punisher, we saw like so much. Like the first Punisher movie, I love it. I'm not going to lie.
Sure. Thomas Jane.
But we didn't see the complexity of what it was like for that guy to come home and for like, you know, I just think we're learning to tell stories better, more in depth, more diverse. And I think that's just showing like such more meaty stories that I'm excited for.
The human condition, as it was.
The human condition. Like we're seeing how it is, like, you know, Jessica Jones. We see how complicated it is for her to live being who she is and doing the things she does. Like it's not easy. I think I always liked those kind of characters more. And so maybe for like some people that are like straight up, I want old fashioned Superman, it may not be that great for them. But for me, I want to know how Superman feels at night. Like how does is he feeling like all these and I love seeing that. I like it. Again, people might not, but I do.
Right. Yeah, the more complex character, the more human part of the character.
I want to see Iron Man chase the bottle. Like I do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think inclusivity is such a big thing, and representation is such a big thing. I love the fact that we have a She-Hulk series on the way.
Yes.
I think that's going to be awesome, and as Moon Knight and all these, and we're in such a great part because we've had Batmans for a long time, and Supermans for a long time, and X-Men's and things like that. But the idea to like we're in a place where now all these like sub-level heroes get to shine a bit. Rumors of like Werewolf by Night coming, like all these obscure, Howard the Duck, and like all these guys get their time to shine and show a love for the tradition and the characters that have been there. I'm excited for it. I really am.
Me too.
Yeah. there's so much good coming.
I know. Agreed. See, I'm very hopeful. So
fantastic. I'm gonna give you the last minute here. Where can people follow you? What can they expect? What do you want to promote upcoming? Anything? The floor is yours, Madam Washington.
All right. Well, expect the unexpected. I'm just kidding. But probably. You can follow me at Anastasia W on TikTok and Twitter, at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, Anastasia TV on YouTube. I will be at Screamfest, premiering a horror short called Demon Juice, about a girls' weekend that goes wrong. What could go wrong? Demon Juice could. I'm doing stand-up all over, so you can check my social media for that. And I'm working on, just getting more content out there. I have a meditation coming up, a comedic meditation, because I like self-help with a little bit of humor. So it's coming out soon.
Fantastic. Absolutely. I love it. I'm making sure I'm following you all over on social media. You have been awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing, the incomparable, the incredible, hilarious Anastasia Washington. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. And when we get back, more, I don't know. We'll talk about something. But, okay, say bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, we'll be back after the break.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
What's up, everybody? We are back, and that was a lot of fun. Let's bring back my favorite guy ever, Mr. Radar. You with us, buddy?
I am. Yo, hey. What's up?
Hey, buddy. Hey,
oh, man.
Did you enjoy your nap? Did you have a good nap?
No, I was laughing at you guys. You guys are hilarious.
I mean, man, we were geeking out.
I feel like every time you have someone on like that, we're getting closer and closer to my replacement. That's what... You're right. You're like, this girl's hilarious, and we can nerd out and talk shit about DC. Yeah. Radar, just hang it over there. I'm gonna have her on my own.
Radar's gonna be on a small hiatus, everybody, and filling in for him is Anastasia Washington. No, she was great, man. She was great. Here's the thing. This is why I can't have a co-host like that, because me and her would get into freaking tangents, ignore the audience, ignore the thing, not bring any guests in, and we'll just be talking about like, do you remember in issue 181 when the first appearance of Wolverine and how he was like, ah. And like, yeah.
Whatever is better than explaining to me how fucking people are villains and or not or whatever. And fucking, make a good movie. Make a good movie.
I gotta make t-shirts, man. I gotta make t-shirts. Oh, I want sorry about it. I want just make it good. And what was the other one? Radar approved? I don't know, something like that. Yeah, that one. That's the face. I need
That's
that one.
nice.
But yeah, no, dude, Anastasia, man, god damn, she was a lot of fun. She was
great.
fun to talk to. I feel like as an interviewer, I didn't do my job to really, you know, I don't know, like I try to like crack people open and get to the. But we were just having so much fun, and we're just geeking out over stuff.
It was good though. It was a good interview. It was not. I think like some of the other people you've had on, and they've been like Louis Anderson was very impressed on like the stuff, like the digging that you did,
Yeah, research,
right?
yeah.
And you guys didn't get into that. You guys just kept bullshitting about the same things you and I bullshit about. You know what I mean? You didn't like dig deep.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
didn't get a chance to
crack
feel
into
those layers.
the filmography and the whatnot. But she was awesome, man. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I enjoy when she takes over as my full-time co-host. It's gonna be be fun.
It'll be exciting when she gets my job.
Are you looking forward to it too? I was like, I think she's gonna do a great job.
She's way funnier than I am. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's most people. It's okay.
Well,
all right. End of the night, folks. We're getting down to the wire here. But let's see if this is working. Hold on. Do you hear? Does that sound? I think that means we got some Tiger King news.
Ooh, Tiger King. All right,
everybody knows, Radar knows that he's a big fan of Tiger King, and especially that bitch Carol Baskin. Carol fucking Baskin. So in the latest development, sorry, I just saw your comment. When she blows up, people are gonna look at this interview for a personal look. Well, that's a great, which, I mean, when she blows up, I think she's blown up pretty. I mean, she was in Die Hard too. She was in the Addams Family, you know, and she's not nobody. She's got a pretty good.
So fucking fun. That'd be so fun to be like, to work with Michael Jackson. That'd be fucking spectacular.
Yeah. That'd be
fucking.
story.
That would blow my mind. Well, I probably would have done something else when I was a young boy.
God damn it, Radar! Way to take it there. Anyway, in Tiger King news.
Tiger King. Didn't Michael Jackson have tigers at Neverland Ranch?
I think he had animals. Yeah, like
call her back. Call Anastasia back.
Skype her back. I think he had like safari. I think he had like giraffes, elephants, and monkeys. I don't know about tigers.
I don't think.
They're too violent.
Pigs, yeah.
All right, so the Roadside, Oklahoma Zoo that served as the primary location in Netflix's Tiger King series is officially no more. The location, once owned by Tiger King star Joe Exotic, was sold early this summer. Remember, it was given to Carol Baskin. She won it in a judgment, if you'll remember. Yes. She shut it all down. Well, it was sold earlier this summer with a specific stipulation when it was sold. It was sold under the condition it can no longer be used as a zoo.
Yes.
So shortly after the first hit Netflix, a federal judge granted Carol Baskin ownership of the land and business due to a settlement she won against Exotic. Baskin and her husband Howard have now sold it for a paltry $140,000.
That's not bad.
Now, the deed that was sold expressly bars the land's new owners from housing exotic animals of any kind at any point for the next 100 years.
Okay.
100 years. In that same time frame, the land cannot be used as a zoo or wildlife park. And the rules don't stop there. The deed also prohibits the new owners, listed as Francisco and Nelly Vasquez, from using the land to profit off of Tiger King, Exotic, or any new business using tigers or big cats or any of the likeness. So in a
that would be tough.
Yeah. So you just bought this land that's
tough.
infamous and cannot do anything with it, anything closely regarding what it's been associated with. Yeah. So
how much land was it? Did they say?
They don't cover exactly how much land, but I mean it was a pretty
good
big
size
park.
area.
You know, thinking that it had hundreds of tigers in it.
Well,
pretty big.
It depends on how big a fence you have, like how many tigers you can have in a small area. But okay, anyway, back to the story.
Yeah.
$140,000, even if it's just for land.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, if it's 100 acres, which is not that large, honestly, and it's really not that bad. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I guess I don't know land prices in Oklahoma that well. I'm not like a speculative, you know, landowner in Oklahoma, but it just seems like a pretty reasonable sum. Yep. Honestly, $140,000 is not a lot of money in land.
It's not. I mean, yeah, and what you can do with that land. The last thing I'll say is,
but yeah, I would say like, okay, I can't have a zoo. Tight. I'll just put up like a fucking Joe Exotic fucking statue.
Right.
People will come and take pictures with it.
It's the Joe Exotic experience. Like
absolutely.
You know, it's like it's one of those little things. You sit in the tram car and like you go into.
I'd have talked to that bitch and like, look, I will cut you in on these profits.
Yeah, that's exactly what she didn't want. You know what I mean? She didn't want this to have anything. Like she wants that whole Joe Exotic shit to be dead. So she didn't want anything.
Because he wanted her dead. Sorry about it.
So it also says, Sherwood Hill says about 100 acres. 100 acres was the law plan. So I'm not going to fact check that.
I guess I don't know exactly. Like I said, around here, if you got 100 acres in the Black Hills you could find 100 acres. If you could find that, you're paying probably over $1 million.
Yeah,
for 100 acres. So if you can get, I mean,
poultry. Yeah. It also says in 2016, the Exotic lost a lawsuit that was filed against him by Baskin and her husband, which awarded her $1 million judgment, which of course he was unable to pay. So in an attempt to avoid paying the judgment, he transferred ownership of the land and the zoo to his mother. Right, that was kind of part of the series and how it wrapped up. He later admitted under oath that the zoo was transferred and the land was transferred to her by him to remove it from the reach of creditors, including BCR and the lawsuit, yada, yada, yada. He also admitted in 2015 via a confession of judgment that she answered herself, blah, 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 whatever. Point is, that land, which formerly housed the Joe Exotic, experience, is gone, and
he didn't get pardoned.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what they do with it. To be honest, what do they build? Because it can't reference exotic, it can't reference the cats, it can't be a zoo, it can't be a wildlife reserve, it can't be anything.
Can they grow meth on it?
I don't think you can grow meth.
Or maybe, I don't know.
But can they cook meth at it? I mean, it's not listed. Prohibitively exists.
Yeah, if you make meth, are you a chef? Anyway, back to the original premise of this. Michael Jackson owned 4 tigers.
He did.
He had 2 sets of tigers and kept the same names for the second pair he got for the Neverland Ranch. So there was 2 at the ranch and 2 somewhere else. They were named Thriller and Sabu. A little bit he named his tiger Thriller.
Mike Jackson
Sabu.
History for you.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. And with
I think
that,
if somebody as batshit crazy as Michael Jackson had fucking tigers. Let's be honest.
I mean, apparently any idiot on high on meth can buy tigers. Apparently.
Was he on meth? He was on painkillers, wasn't he?
I'm just saying. I'm referencing Joe Exotic. Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another fabulous episode of Pop Culture Warrior. My friend here, Mr. Radar, will take us on an adventure. Tell us, paint us a word picture of all the wonderfulness that is WTF Nation Radio on a typical week.
Well, typically, this is not just typically. Tonight, you have been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. It's Tuesday. Tomorrow night is Wednesday, a Donza Day, a day of no scheduled activities. I'll be off work. CQ will be off work. We'll take care of our families. We'll do whatever we do on Wednesday nights. Thursday, normally swords time. Big swords. All kinds of sergeanting with Ice and Spanky. They do the sword stuff. Ice is still on vacation. Still summertime. Thought about it. He's doing his thing. So when Ice comes back on Thursday nights, there will be Sergeant's time. Friday Night Freedom, FNF with Kaz and Pookie. Good show. Check it out. Saturday, day off. Sunday, day off. Weekend, we do that. This is a holiday weekend, so please enjoy your holidays. Should be a 96 for you guys out there. Whatever. Do what you do. Don't add to the population. Don't subtract from the population. Don't drink and drive. There you go. There's safety brief from Sergeant Radar. Monday is the Monday edition with Ice and Flash. Again, Ice still on vacay. Kind of on a little bit of a hiatus. Don't worry about it. He'll be back. And then you come around to us on Tuesdays, Pop Culture Warrior, CQ, Radar, Raichal.
That's right.
Do we have a guest next week?
We do. A guest that I'm excited about as well. Just confirming my numbers here. Yes.
I'll try to confirm that we're having the guest before I announce the guest.
No, we are. And I am over the moon for next week's guest. This is one. Oh, well, I can't wait. I'm truly. I mean, every guest we have is phenomenal. Every guest we have is awesome.
Every guest we have is so fun.
But this one, I'm really excited about. It is a phenomenal comedian who he's known around the world. He's the amazing Chad Daniels. If you don't know who Chad Daniels is, people, look him up because you're wrong. Okay? He is phenomenal. He is so fucking funny. I love listening to his stuff while I'm driving. It just cracks me up, although I've heard it 1,000 times. It's gonna be a hoot. I'm so freaking excited. He's got a tour coming up soon, and so he's gonna come on and we're gonna talk about it and his career in comedy. Probably not geek out as much as we did tonight and actually talk about his history. But it's I'm so pumped for that one. The week after that we have Lauren Tom, who is I'm skipping a week. Yeah, because Lauren Tom's the 21st. But yeah, the next 3 guests we have are incredible. Next week, comedian Chad Daniels. The week after that, a phenomenal actress she was in Batman: The Dark Knight. She was in the Dark Knight movie with Batman. She Renee Montoya was the character she played. She was the female cop, and a bunch of other things, obviously. And then the week after that, Lauren Tom, who you'd remember her if you watched Friends. She was Julie. She dated Ross. Julie for 7 episodes. And then also, if you like the cartoon Batman Beyond, she was the voice of Terry McGinnis's girlfriend. So with that, we have a lot of good stuff coming. And like I said, I'm truly excited. Like I said, we have one of the actors of Resident Evil, the upcoming Resident Evil, coming up soon. We're just confirming dates, probably November sometime. But we're the caliber of guests we have keep getting better and better every week. I'm so excited. I can't stand it. How fortunate we've been and how things have been going. You know, we're in the running for a podcast award, Best in Entertainment. Could we win it this year?
When did we hear about that?
That will be October. I think it's like October 6th. I'll double check, but I think it's October 6th. But needless to say, we are in the running. We've made it to the top 10 in the country, Best in Entertainment, and fingers crossed we make it. Elena, thank you. She says, great show. We appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hope to see you next week. I'm telling you, next week's gonna be a fun one. Don't sleep on next week. Don't sleep on next week. Or you know what? If you missed the live show, you catch the replay. It's fine.
Check out the podcast.
Yeah, watch the podcast. Go in the archives on the Facebook or the YouTubes or the Twitch or the Twitters. Mm-hmm. We're always there. You know,
we're always there. Come check it out. And tell your friends too. Like, tell them to come hang out.
Yeah.
You enjoy it.
If you had a good time, tell your friends. Like the last plug, the Facebook page, the Pop Culture Warrior specific Facebook page is nearing closer and closer to that 1,000 mark. And when I do hit that 1,000 mark, banana pants. Things are gonna go crazy. I'm doing giveaways. I've got a prize. I'm doing multiple giveaways. And
multiple?
Multiple.
That means more than one.
More than one. And the things I'm gonna be giving away are ridiculous. I'm just gonna straight up say they're ridiculous. They're things that you can't really get. That, yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't even. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Let's put it that way. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It's gonna be awesome. Everybody's gonna love it. The actual King Smith. Thanks for tuning in, bud. Better late than never, as always. Radar. Anything?
It's pretty fucking late. It's almost never.
We're just about to never. Yeah, we're at about 800 on the page. So let's boost those numbers up, share it, get it out there.
Boost them numbers up.
Yeah, because when we hit when we hit that 1,000, bro. Oh, I got boxes back there, stuff, things that are just gonna blow people's minds. And I'm just, it's all for you. It's all for you. So
it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited for it.
Thank you, Elena. Appreciate the share. All right, guys. With that, we reached the end of the show. We appreciate you guys coming out, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Be good to each other. Go nerd out on something. Bye. Shots.